Friend having wedding day before mine and kept relationship hidden for a whole year. What do I do? Original post, December 17th, 2024. Originally posted in r/wedding drama. I'm getting married in a few weeks. About a month ago, one of my best friends who I've known since college and have kept in regular contact with dropped the bomb that she was getting married. I didn't even know she was seeing someone. She then drops the bomb that she's marrying a guy in our friend group and that her wedding is going to have to be the day before mine because her father-in-law can't get time off work at any other time that month, and essentially gave a few other half-assed reasons about why other weekends weren't possible. One weekend will be a few days before her period starts, so she'll be bloated. The other, she's on her period, and the other is Valentine's weekend, and that's cringy. The other is too close to Ramadan, so she can't go on her honeymoon straight away, etc. Some backstory about the person she is marrying. He is someone that we always thought she had a thing for, but she'd always deny it and say she saw him like a brother. We used to argue a bit over her prioritizing him over me back in college, especially because this guy and I didn't really get on much, and her and I were so close. For example, me and her had brunch plans once, and she spent the whole time texting him. After graduating though, I feel like we all matured and put differences behind us to the point where her husband-to-be was actually invited to my wedding as my friend. My knee-jerk reaction to her telling me she was engaged was crying tears of joy for her. I truly was happy for her, but when I got home to think about it, I felt really icky. All year since I've been wedding planning, she's been asking me really specific questions about my planning process. She complained to me that, as my best friend, she didn't feel involved enough in my planning process and said she wanted to come dress shopping with me, which I invited her to because of her expressing this. But then for her to turn around and tell me that she's been dating this guy on and off for a year, whilst also keeping it secret, makes her feeling left out of my stuff come across as so hypocritical. And then there's the question of why the rush, since she's known him a decade, and why specifically my wedding weekend when I sent out my save the dates back in March. So she's had so much time to plan and leave some time in between. It's not about me not having all the attention on me. It's just how can she expect me to be fully present at her wedding, and how selfish she must be to expect me to have to fit her into an already stressful weekend for me. When I told her this, she doubled down on that weekend being the only one available, and that she specifically chose that one because she knew I'd be available since I booked a few days off from work before the wedding, and that she needed me at her wedding. She said I would embarrass her around her future in-laws since she made such a point of needing to pick a date that I could attend, even though I had no clue she was seeing him, nor did she check if the day was a good fit for me. I then also expressed how upset I was that she kept the relationship hidden from me, to which she said she thought I'd cut her off because of my history not getting on with this guy. Again, we all moved past that stuff years ago and are a far cry from the kids we were when we all met back in freshman year. When I told her I didn't think I could make her wedding, she was so upset she cried and said she never thought I'd do that to her and skip her wedding. She's been telling other friends in the friend group that I'm coming to the wedding when they asked if the date is doable for me. We haven't spoken since my conversation about how upset with her I was a month ago. I'm not trying to be a bridezilla, and I know people are entitled to be private. My issue is that she should have extended that privacy with me and not asked so many questions about my life, knowing she was being so tight-lipped with hers. This is where I now need advice. I feel so bitter and like the whole friendship was a lie. I can't make it to her wedding, and honestly having her at mine feels disingenuous. She has been telling friends she is still coming to mine. Is it rude for me to not go to her wedding? Should I go to her wedding since this is a decade-long friendship? Part of me wants to disinvite her and her husband-to-be from my wedding because of the lies. Is that rude? Is there a polite way to disinvite someone from your wedding without coming across like an absolute villain? Edit, I'm Middle Eastern, so traditionally we don't have bridesmaids or a rehearsal dinner. Also fixed some wording plus added some more detail. Maybe there's a tiny itty bitty chance that this friend isn't crazy and not try to sabotage OP's wedding, like maybe 1%, but my gut is telling me this was all intentional. Not telling her about the relationship and planning the wedding the day before her wedding, which I think universally should just be a big no-no. It screams jealous and I need more attention than my friend. And I guess with that assumption, I think you do need to tell her you're not going to her wedding, tell her that she's not invited to your wedding, and I don't think there's a good way to do it. I think you just gotta pull the band-aid off and hope and pray that she just takes it like a champ, which I'm guessing she won't. It's too sus for me. Private and a secret are different things. This might be a hot fucking take here. I don't think you're good friends with someone if you can't even tell them that you've been dating someone for a year. I don't think that's a good friendship. If I had like a best friend and he just surprise shottied me and was like, yeah, by the way, I've had a partner for a year and we're getting married, I would be like, dude, what? Why didn't you tell me? Like, to me, part of being friends is sharing those base level things with each other. And if you can't even share like, oh, I went on a cool date with somebody and now we're dating and I want you to meet them so you can approve of them. And I know that she knew of this person beforehand, but still, like, you didn't know that person in the relationship with your friend. I just think that's massively important. That's not something you keep secret. That's not something you keep private with your true friends. Secretly dating on and off for just 1 year and already getting married sus. Guys, I said that 2 years isn't enough for me to like be married to someone, and I got so many people in the comments butthurt about it who are like, actually, I was dating this person for 6 months and then we got married 3 months later. Like, it works out fine. And I'm like, you're not even balls deep in your marriage yet. You gotta chill with that. Half of them are still in the honeymoon phase. No, for real, Tabby. That's how I feel. Like, you can't get married in the honeymoon phase. When you're looking over all the red flags and shit that your partner's probably doing, like, no. Just no. I also feel like you should have one real argument because that reveals a lot about yourself, your partner, and your relationship. It reveals how you argue, how constructively you argue, and how you go about problem solving with your partner. I think that shit is so important. Commenter, when did this friend send out wedding invitations that you just found out and she's expecting you to attend? Sounds very last minute on her part. OOP. So from what I've heard from the grapevine, she's only just found a venue and no invitations have gone out yet. She's been insisting that officially the engagement happened and they knew they were getting married in November, which is why nothing has been booked. It all just seems so wishy-washy to me. Another commenter, I just have to add a totally instant gut reaction to this situation. Your friend was siphoning off all of your wedding planning to make hers easier. She deliberately planned the day before yours to cover that fact up. Hers is the earlier wedding, therefore you copied her in her mind anyway. OOP, that's what I'm thinking too. Before all of this, she kept on saying how easy wedding planning seemed to be going for me. It's not been easy at all. I'm just good at hiding it and I'm very organized. And how I thought of things she would have never even known was a thing. In terms of disinviting and the cultural impact, it's very split down the middle with opinions. So I'm really torn. Thank you for the hugs. I really appreciate it. This has helped me feel like I'm not being unreasonable or a bridezilla. One last thought from OOP. Trust me, there are so many holes that I'm curious about too in her story and a lot else that I didn't put in myself. In terms of how busy I'll be the day before OOP's wedding, I'll be putting together my wedding favors with the girls in the family in the days leading up to the wedding. We'll be doing airport runs up to the day before as a lot of family will be traveling in, some from 20 plus hours away. We live close to 3 major airports, so it's all hands on deck. And then honestly, I was hoping I'd get a nice early night in to relax for once because I've had such a busy year. I'll be combining my henna event with the reception on the day of the wedding because I've already had 2 events and have a Western style bridal shower the weekend before. So I wanted to cut down on events. Yeah, that doesn't sound like you can even have time to attend a wedding. That's insane. Update post, January 30th, 2025, 1.5 months later. A few people in the original post were asking about rehearsal dinners and all of that stuff. I'm Middle Eastern and we don't really do that in our culture. Some people also said I needed to get over myself and that I don't own the whole weekend, which is true, I don't. My issue was the lying and also the expectation of me to drive a total of 5 hours, 2.5 hours there and back the day before my wedding and to attend another when I had so many things to finalize. I also just needed to vent. Being lied to and having something that felt so calculated happen in what I thought was one of my closest friendships is strange. I mean, shit, bro. If you say, hey, this weekend I'm getting married, my wedding is happening on this specific weekend, like, to me, the subtext of that is I'm going to be doing nothing but getting married this weekend. Like, do you own the weekend? No, but it's like this weekend is big no-no for anything other than me getting married, which is one of the most important things in my life. Oh, and I don't think it was a shotgun wedding, which a lot of people were suggesting. Anyways, I had my wedding. It was perfect, and I wouldn't change a thing. I didn't go to her wedding. I genuinely didn't have the time. I did see some posted videos of her wedding. She didn't copy mine, which a lot of people were worried about considering she had been asking me about all of my prep. I'll give her the flowers, though. Her wedding was gorgeous, but definitely not a 2-month planned wedding like she was making out it was to me. In the end, she ended up coming to my wedding about 3 hours late. I was too busy being in my own newly married bubble to notice her or anything, but I did get feedback from people who were sat at her table. Like people said she would in my original post, she spent the whole time talking about her wedding. In our culture, the bride receives a heavy piece of gold jewelry at her wedding. She made a show of having her new husband take her piece of jewelry out of her bag and putting it on her at the table. Just after my husband and I, feel so nice to say that, did our outfit change. She was also showing off other pieces of jewelry she received, making it a point to emphasize that she received real sapphires and real diamonds. Her and her husband also spent the whole time texting each other, which means they were probably saying not very nice things that they didn't want our mutual friends overhearing. And she frequently would turn to him and say, "Don't worry, we're leaving soon." They were packing on the PDA with neck kisses. She also then cried to my mom and brother about how she didn't understand why I've not been talking to her and how I've been so cold to her. This wasn't true. I'd only told her how much her actions and lies had hurt me, and to be honest, she was the one who didn't respond to my last message. My mom, being the classic mom she is, brought her to me and tried to make us hug it out. We have this really awkward exchange caught on camera. My mom did tell my friend that she shouldn't have lied to me for a whole year though, so it's nice to know she had my back even if she pulled a typical mom move trying to make everyone happy. Our mutual friends are all on my side. No one really thinks she's in the right. Most of them didn't go to her wedding. With the invites being so last minute and her wedding being on a weekday, a lot of people couldn't get the time off or childcare. No one else knew about the wedding, which is crazy. I do believe that her truth is that she doesn't think she's done anything wrong, and she really does think that she considered me and my situation in her wedding planning. Unfortunately, I think it's one of those friendships where we no longer really align, and I have taken a step back and distanced myself from her. I do appreciate that she came to my wedding. However, I think she did it to make a point more than out of the goodness of her heart and respect for our friendship, considering what she pulled. Look, even if there was no malice and she genuinely thinks that everything that she did here was out of the goodness of her heart, it's the stupidity for me. I wouldn't want to be around someone like this where they're so stupid that they think everything that they're doing here is the right move. So it's either they're malicious and awful and you should kick them out, or they're really, really stupid and you should also kick them out. Like, I just don't see a world where you just go no contact with this person. I wish she would have uninvited them from the wedding though. I think that would have been the right move. Like, the fact that she knows all this about her is just so extra. Like, I wouldn't want my wedding day tainted by this person. I'd be like, get them the fuck out. Especially showing up 3 hours late to a wedding is crazy. Also, who would want to be at a wedding right after they got married? I get married, we are going on immediately on the honeymoon and we're humping like bunnies. I'm not trying to show up to a wedding. Sorry, male bunnies don't last long. I never said I did either. Hubby and I are doing a courthouse one. No wedding, no drama. No, for real. And not expensive as fuck. I'm trying to find a wife who's like, let's not drop 50 bands on a fucking wedding. Let's drop 50 bands on a down payment on a house. Or let's put 50 bands into the stock market and turn it into a milli. Like, that's my shit.